welcome to another edition of This is Wrestling. It is Lee Versage along with one and only Zach McGibbon, the Zach of all trades, joining us again. And when I say the Zote, I mean it, folks, because Zach had to wait for him because he had to be a guest on a radio show and called boxing on the weekends. Like, hockey's over. He's like, I still got some stuff up my sleeve. What's going on?
I'm doing pretty good, Mr. Versage. Yeah, a lot happening over the last little bit, as you mentioned, just coming back from doing a radio appearance. I do it every 2 weeks for my Belleville Council report on the Lauren Brooker Show, 800 CJBQ. So if you want to hear me in a totally different light and try to be a professional reporter, yeah, and try and analyze everything going on in Belleville Council, which I know the listeners would absolutely want to dig deep on, you know, the bylaws of the city of Belleville and the motions that are being passed. Like, I know it's riveting. So I'm sure they want to tune in. If they do, they'll go to 800 CJBQ. But the real exciting stuff, as you mentioned, I did call boxing over the weekend.
So before the boxing, I'm going to tell you, I've never tuned in to you as a guest on the Lauren Brooker Show talking about the bylaws of Belleville, but there is some intrigue. So I like the fact that you've plugged the station twice.
Yes.
To make sure that if people want to hear you in a different light, like there is a slight intrigue into, like, do people have to come to a full stop at the stop sign? Can they run the stop sign? Like, what happens if it falls down? Did they make the new bigger stop signs because people are getting older in Belleville and the smaller stop signs aren't working anymore? So like those oversized signs, was it a two-way stop and now it's a four-way stop? Like, these are all the questions, Zach, that we have.
We really break it down, you know, in full detail. And so it really is like Mick Foley, like on here, I'm Cactus Jack. Right. On the Lauren Brooker Show, I'm Dude Love. You know, when I'm calling sports, I'm Mankind.
Are you Dude Love on the Lauren Brooker Show?
I'm a little bit more relaxed on there, like trying to be, you know, a professional reporter and not trying to, you know, lose my mind on there. So that's why I go with the Dude Love sort of comp on there.
You know what? It actually makes sense now because it sounds like the most boring thing in the history of the world. And you have to try and make it fun.
We do have to try, and I will say a lot of the times during my segment on the Brooker Show, it went longer this time, but we actually spend a lot of time. Lauren likes to throw trivia at me. It's like, do you remember this from 1966 or whatever? And I'm like, look, man, I have an old soul. I don't know if I got this down backed, but I'll try, you know. But
I don't know that I know anybody that's your age that kind of knows more about the 80s and 90s. What year were you born in again?
I was born 1997.
Right. You were born in 97.
Yeah.
And I don't know anybody that knows the 80s and the 90s that wasn't born or remembers that era. They have to go back.
Yes.
But I feel like Lauren might be a little unfair asking you trivia from the 60s. I feel like that's a little bit much.
I could do okay, but it's not my forte.
Right.
Like, you give me Beach Boys, I'm good. Obviously the Beatles, you know, I'm good. I think I have a passing knowledge, especially for a guy my age. I think I'm doing pretty okay.
Yep.
But in terms of like full in-depth knowledge, it is a little tough. So that does kind of make the bit a little bit, because sometimes I know stuff, sometimes I don't know stuff.
Of course. It's always about the bit. And if you can have a bit talking about council meetings, you need one. You probably need more.
That's right. So at every time when Lauren introduces the segment, it's like the most exciting time of the show, talking about Belleville Council. Like, we all know we're all in on the deal. We're kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudging.
What's hilarious about it is that the reason that you continue to do it is because there's an older crowd in Bell Vegas that actually wants and needs to know all this stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'll get the occasional email being like, oh, I heard you talking about this. And just to kind of give a sense, sometimes they don't. I write the articles obviously online, and they don't know that I've written the article. So they'll send me an email, be like, oh, I thought your story was interesting. Where can I hear more about it? And then I'll have to send the link over. It's like, oh, this is where you find the full deals. So
okay.
that's kind of the industry I'm in. But I did call boxing. I also did call boxing.
Yeah. So I asked you for your call. You're like, I'm not going to waste my voice. You were feeling a little scratchy. We're under the weather last week. Are you feeling better?
I'm close to 100%. I'm still like, there's still like moments, but I am much better now.
Okay. So was there like a massive knockout or a knockout that you had kind of the call of the night?
Yes, there was. There was a knockout. It was a clean knockout too. Like it got him square. I was like, whoa, like, and it caught everybody's by surprise because like we've had the standing 8 counts throughout. Like this is the first time I've called a knockout in boxing. There were standing 8 counts a lot in the first show I called boxing.
Right.
It was a couple of months ago, but this was the first like clean knockout. Oh yeah, this guy got knocked out. I was right beside, I had 2 other commentators with me, guy by the name of Dan Maloney, who also calls some of the hockey games with me for the Trenton Golden Hawks on your TV. And then we had a former Canadian heavyweight champion, Dylan Big Country Carmen, on commentary as well with us. So, and he's big in the local community, and he was having a good time. He was having a fun time. He's quite the character.
Yeah,
you have to be a character with the name Big Country. So, but from the Madoc area, Big Country. But yes, there was a knockout. It was a clean knockout. It was the first round too that this knockout came. It was 3-round fights. So it was great. Had a real fun time. Only one issue, Lee.
Okay. Ready for it.
Main event.
Feel like you've been building this for a bit here.
Yes. Main event. We're calling it. It's going great. Fights. It's a very good fight.
Okay.
And second round, we're calling it, and it's getting pretty close. Guys up on the ropes, and all of a sudden our headset shut off. I was like, uh-oh. And then our screen shuts off. Uh-oh. And I'm looking, I'm like, is there a power outage here? The building's fine. And then I look at the camera people, and the camera people start looking at their cameras, and I'm like, uh-oh, this is a full-on TV shutdown over here. And the generator imploded. The TV truck generator imploded during the main event of the show. So it didn't get back. So what we found out later was that I guess like some sort of
someone tripped over the cord that they never taped down, and all of a sudden the whole thing went.
No, it was something like I wish it was that. That would have been at least a little bit funnier. Yeah. But it was something like without trying to get too technical, apparently like there was an oil leak essentially, that there was some sort of wearing down of something that finally weared down to a point where the oil leaked, and it led to the generator not working. And so that's why everything started to shut down.
So no main event call.
So no main event call. We were second round of the main events, and it shut down, and I was like, I guess there's no main event call here. So, which sucked. It was a good fight, but unfortunately no main event call. But still, it was a 12 fight card. You still had 11 fights that we were able to get in. So
you called 11 fights?
Yep.
And it was a 12 fight card? That's a lot.
Yep. First couple were 2 round, not 2 round. They were, it was, they were 3-round fights, but they were about a minute. And then the other ones were a minute and a half, and then the other one were 2 minutes.
Right. So still, that's a lot.
Oh yeah. Plus there was an intermission in between too. So it was, we were there a while.
Okay.
But still had a fun time. It went by quicker than you would think. And so it was good. So I could add boxing. Now the one combat sport I still need to do now is MMA. And then I will have called the trifecta of combat sports if you include pro wrestling. I did do photography back in the day for a Muay Thai event, which is a story in of itself. I don't know if we have time for today, but it involves Dylan Black. He's now back in radio. It involves Dylan Black and initially winning tickets, and then it's being told, hey, can you also do the photography for the show? We'll give you $20 and we'll give you a camera and you just take photos.
That's
it's like, all right.
Sounds like Anthony James. Do Do you know Anthony James?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
That was Dylan Black's name when he worked at the building that we used to work at.
Oh, right. There you go.
On Magic 100, he was
Anthony James. I thought he was always. I knew that wasn't his real name. This might blow some people's minds.
Anthony James.
Yeah.
Like, oh boy.
I didn't realize. Like, I knew Dylan Black wasn't his real name.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he had gone by another name on the radio though. Yes. I thought it was always Dylan Black.
No.
There you go.
Things you probably didn't need to know, but
yeah.
Anthony.
Hey, some people, like, if we have Ottawa listeners, so that might shock some people that Dylan Black isn't a real name for Dylan Black. So
I think they had another one too. Did he have another one with Dylan? I can't remember, but he was definitely Anthony James at the old Magic 100.
This is where we reveal that we're not actually Lee Versage and Zach McGibbon.
You know what? Sometimes I wish I went with a different name at the very, very beginning, just to make it a little cooler or something like.
Yeah.
But I didn't, and then you're stuck. Like if you don't switch stations, or you don't that's who people know you, and sometimes people force it depending on like if you change companies and stuff. They're like, yeah, we want a different name. It's not unlike wrestling.
A gimmick change. It's like, look, you're a new company. We need a new gimmick for you. Like, you can't use this name for the rock station, and now you're on a pop station, so you got to change it up, right?
Yeah, you got to be a little lighter. You can't be. That's what I mean. Like Magic 100, Anthony James. You can't be hard Dylan Black.
Right. For the 80s and 90s.
Right. Exactly. Okay, let's get to. We got some cuts to get to. The WWE, never short of being in the news, even when they do some releases or cuts, it somehow becomes controversial. But maybe, Zach, I mean, there is some positive news, right? Not everyone was cut, and some people re-upped. Some people got bigger, longer contracts. So that's got to be a positive. On the negatives of people being released, there was also people who got extensions.
That's right. Look, it's signing season, and so it's the time of year where you have to freshen up the roster, and with that, it comes the tough decision to make cuts, and it's never fun. And so you get people that come, but you get some people that stay, right? Like, we are committed to your performance. You've done so great for us,
right?
That we have to keep you around.
You cut the fat, and then you keep the meat. You keep
that's right
the substance.
That's right. The person that really makes the engine run in WWE.
Triple H, Paul Levesque with a new 3-year deal.
Oh,
to be the head of content once more, creative control for the WWE. Let's go, Zach.
Oh, I thought it would be a wrestler.
No, Zach, the engine, the guy that makes things go. Triple H. Humble Hearst Helmsley gets himself a new deal under TKO to be in charge of things.
Oh boy,
I'm looking forward to your response.
Well,
so is everyone else.
I mean, so it's funny. The initial reporting that day was Nick Khan giving the vote of confidence to Triple H and his creative abilities. And as a sports guy, you and I, as sports guys, a vote of confidence isn't actually really a vote of confidence. A lot of times,
the opposite.
It's usually the opposite. So when I saw the vote of confidence, I was like, oh no, Hunter's kind of screwed here. This is not good. Like, this is, they're not happy with them. And there's still a part of me, even with the extension, this is still TKO. And we'll talk about with some of the cuts here. And so, sure, I'm sure he signed for 3 more years and whatnot. But you saw the way that things broke down, no pun intended, in the case of Triple H, when it came to the creative, specifically with Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton and the involvement of Pat McAfee and TKO getting involved.
Yep.
Generally, Lee, if the upper management people have to get involved with what you're doing, the very high ups are saying they have to get involved because it's not working. That's usually not a positive sign of your work. Generally speaking, we say this from experience working in the media business, where if the high ups get involved, it's not great.
No, in fact, it's never a positive thing. If the higher ups, and I will give you the example, especially where I worked in the building that you and I were both in, to say that the station that I worked for was the fourth of four, or with the TV station, 5 of 5.
Yeah.
So it was the least important, and I'm not even saying it should have been more important than some of the other things that were going on, but it was a very clear number 5, like bottom of the barrel.
Yep.
If the big boss, like the real big boss, if they had to get involved with something that was on the station that we were on, it was never a positive thing. Never. Like, it's almost like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm wasting my time. I have so many other things to do. Why am I involved in this? Please just run yourselves and run it properly. And maybe, like, I've never been a big boss. I'm trying to be, but I've never really been that before. Like I said, with OSN, I'm trying to be, but I'm not trying to be like that.
Right.
I can even understand that you got so many things on your plate. There are some points, if it's one of the least of your worries, you're like, just run this thing, man. Like, just whatever you're supposed to do, could you please just do it? That's it.
Yep.
So never a positive thing.
No. And it was pretty abundantly clear in the case of WWE that when the higher ups at TKO and Mark Shapiro and Ari Emanuel have to get involved, say, let's get Pat McAfee because our ticket sales are down. And it had gotten to the point where they're going on TV talking. I don't know where this thing is now. Like, this is me reading too many Instagram comments, but like, there was a press release that TKO put out. It's like, oh, look at all the money that was made. Because of course they're going to preach how much money they made, right? And how much it circulated the local economy. And then the fans in the comments like, see, this is why you don't trust dirt sheets, right? It's the classic fan thing of like, this is why you don't trust dirt sheets. They kept telling me that things were not going well, but look at TKO. And I'm like, guys, do you watch the programming? It wasn't the dirt sheets. It was literally them going on their TV saying that the tickets are too high and nobody's buying them and the product sucks. It was literally them. They always find a way to bring it back to the dirt sheets because they have no critical thinking skills. A lot of that fan base. So anyways, all that to say, going back to the Triple H stuff, while yes, this is an extension, and yes, this is a quote unquote vote of confidence on him and saying, look, we believe in the creative abilities. It was hilarious reading the article about it because Nick Khan, clearly not gotten to by online social media responses, is going, look at the responses from 2015 to Roman Reigns. Look at the responses from 2018 to this. Look at the responses to this for 2021. It doesn't matter about the online social media responses. Like, it clearly matters a lot because you're on this TKO call with all the other companies and you're like, look at the social media responses. It doesn't matter because look at how our business is doing and we're doing great with this.
From 11 years ago too. Like,
exactly. It's like, huh? So yeah, I'm still weary of that because, well, yes, it's a 3-year extension. You don't think TKO has the ability to cut this man at any point?
No, it's not even that, Zach. It's good for him that Triple H is still the guy.
God help us.
But to me, it's that TKO is going to keep somebody in place knowing that they can come in and override them anytime they want.
Yep.
And we don't want to go through the hassle of bringing somebody else in and they're going to want autonomy. And we actually want to have a say, but only when we feel like it. So we need somebody in place, and I don't want to call him a puppet, but
kind of
we-
is in some ways.
but we need somebody in place that we can overrule, and it's going to be okay. That's what it is.
Yep.
And
He's a middle manager.
yes. And we need a middle manager to run some of the things. But when we want to say we're going to overrule him, and he will sit there and shut up and he'll go along with the company line. And that's what we need. We don't need somebody coming in here and ruffling our feathers and wanting autonomy and doing things different. No, we're in charge. This is TKO. We're in charge. And we want to rule this, but we need somebody to keep up the face of the company. And he's still a legitimate guy in some people's eyes. You know, former wrestler that was one of the greats and, you know, has an understanding of the business and grew up, and he's got the McMahon family, like all the things that we know about Triple H. But when we need, as Mark Shapiro or Ari Emanuel or Nick Khan, when we need to do things and implement them, and we need him to shut up and save face and put on the company smile and tell everybody why this is so great.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. This is why we do what we do.
Like, that's it, folks. And if that's okay with you, but I want you, not you, Zach, but you, the listener, right now to understand that this company does not give a crap about you or what you want as a wrestling fan. They are treating you, and they will continue to do this. And if you're okay with it, oh, all right. Like that's your decision as a consumer, as a fan. But they are going to do exactly what they want. They don't give one crap about what you want as a fan. And they are going to tell you, no matter what they do, that you're going to like it. And this is the way that it is. If you as a fan are okay with that, I really can't argue back with you. Like, I don't want to. And if you enjoy that and you get things stuffed down your throat like Pat McAfee and Jelly Roll, and they're completely involved in WrestleMania, and Travis Scott and The Rock, and then they vanish afterwards. I actually have some respect, because I think some of this is Pat McAfee going, I want to be involved. And then he's got his agent, Ari Emanuel, saying, I'm going to put you here and I'm going to put you here and it's going to be great. And you're going to be the next Sylvester Stallone and you're going to be everything. And the people revolted against it. And Pat McAfee is like, yeah, I don't need this. Like, I want to do it, but you've stuck me in this spot that sucks. And now everyone's revolted against me. This isn't what I want to do. And now I'm out. Pat McAfee's gone. Jelly Roll's gone. We're like, Zach, they were the prime things in WrestleMania 2 weeks before.
Yes.
They were
key building blocks.
Pat McAfee was on the phone for a month with Randy Orton in the main event of WrestleMania. He's gone. Travis Scott interrupted the main event last year, never to be heard from again. Jelly Roll. Come on, folks. If you enjoy the product, we want to hear from you. And I would love to hear from you. What about the product is it that you enjoy? I actually have a couple things. And I know you're probably thinking, if you've listened to this show for a long time, that Lee and Zach, they hate the WWE and all they do is crap on it all over the time. There's actually some things going on right now that I don't mind and I kind of like.
Yep.
But in saying that, I want people to be very clear. That is because the wrestlers themselves are the ones that are doing the entertaining and the ones that I enjoy and the ones that are making something out of the opportunity that they have. As far as the big company is concerned, They don't give a crap. And I know you know this,
Mhm.
but I really, really want all of our listeners to know this. Each major boss, and we're going to talk about the cuts in a second.
Yep.
Ari Emanuel, he is the CEO of TKO. 2025 made $67.4 million. Mark Shapiro, president of TKO, made $42.6 million. Nick Khan, president of the WWE, made $24.3 million. And Andrew Schleimer, chief financial officer of TKO, made $23.1 million. Ari Emanuel made 813 times more than the average employee that works at TKO, which does not include the wrestlers. Every company has to cut and trim some of the fat and make room for new people and all that stuff, which we'll get to.
Yep.
But Zach, the CEO, the president of TKO, the president of WWE, and the chief financial officer, that's $150 million a year.
On those guys alone.
On those four people.
Yeah.
Okay? Four guys. And look, it's private business. There is free enterprise. You can go and make as much money as you possibly want.
Yep. Publicly traded on the stock market and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, there is something to the fact when they say, like, the goal is to make money. And the people that are in charge, they're making a lot of money. So if you're okay with being a fan of a product and you enjoy the product that they are giving you each and every week, whether it's Raw or SmackDown or WrestleMania or Backlash coming up, if you are sitting down and enjoying it and think the product is awesome, and you're okay with, hey, if you want to go to an event like WrestleMania, the ticket prices are way more expensive than they used to be. But if you are okay with paying it, that's awesome. If you went to WrestleMania and spent thousands of dollars on tickets and thought it was an unbelievable show, okay. Like, I can't say anything to you. Zach can't say anything to you. You are entitled as a fan to like what you like. But this is a company that does not give one crap if you happen to like it or not. They don't care if you're a 10-year fan or a 20-year fan and you're suddenly unhappy with what's going on. They do not care at all. Like, zero. They're just going to continue to escalate ticket prices and continue to hope that some people, whether they're longtime fans or new fans or people that just have money that want to show up at events, are going to come and pay the tickets. So four guys that work in the company can make $150 million a year. You, as a fan, are the person that is paying for those salaries. I can't tell people not to do it.
Yep.
Right? They want to do it. They want to do it. But
and the thing too, like, I think people need to understand what WWE is at this point. This is not a live event business. Like, I know they obviously make money off of live events with WrestleMania and whatnot, but that's not their primary. They are a content creation company.
Right.
The best way I've heard about this is a B2B business for WWE. Their whole goal is to find any sort of other television network or streaming service or whatnot. And all they're going to do is try and create more and more content. And then they hope that the fans that buy into the product will just continue to buy tickets for it, no matter the cost. And they'll sell to these streamers or these television networks or whatever, these media companies at a high price and continue to take in the money from those deals. Plus you throw in the sponsorships, plus you throw in the ticket prices. So that's their primary goal, again, is to make money. And that was how TKO was formed, because they also have a bunch of debt that they've got to pay off at the same time too. So they have to try and do that when the merger happened. And something as well, when you talk about those salaries of the, of Schleimer and Khan and Emmanuel and Shapiro, is that those are from recent SEC filings that were reported by Brandon Thurston.
Right.
And when you look at it, if you're a fan that cares about your wrestlers and you want your wrestlers to continue to perform, this is something that I think should be eye-opening for the fan. And I mentioned this to you in that same chat, is that sports leagues, NFL, Major League Baseball, the NBA, the NHL, they have their players unions, right? And they're able to negotiate with those unions 50% of the money that comes into MLB. So that would go to the players union and be dispersed around, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you break down how much money goes to the company and compare it to how it goes to the wrestlers, usually it's 50-50. In some cases it might be 55-45, right? But
yep.
MLB is going to go through a lockout probably after this season over all of this, right? And they're trying to find a split. WWE, TKO, it is an 85-15 at best split.
Right.
At best split. They're saying it might be more 90-10. But the estimates could be as high as 85-15 for money that comes into TKO and money that gets into the professional wrestlers. It's crazy how underpaid they are. Crazy, because it all flows back to TKO.
Right. And I think if you just looked at that, regardless of what it is, 10, 12, 14% that the wrestlers are making, within that amount, think about how much the top guys and girls are making compared to the rest of them.
Yeah.
So how much does Roman Reigns take up of that? How much does CM Punk and Cody Rhodes? How much did they take up as opposed to, I don't know, just think of Asuka or somebody who's good but aren't being used necessarily the way that you would like.
Mm-hmm.
How much does LA Knight make? Or how much, there's a huge hierarchy within that, say, 15%. And I'll guarantee you that Roman Reigns and CM Punk and Cody Rhodes, and you're always going to pay your top stars, like in any sport.
Mm-hmm.
But I looked at a game last night as we taped this on a Tuesday morning. The Pittsburgh Penguins stayed alive. Does Sidney Crosby make a lot of money? Yes. But do you think the gap between Sidney Crosby and the rest of some of the other top stars, between Malkin and Letang and Carlson, they basically all make the same amount of money? And guys the secondary guys, I still can't pronounce the 6'8" guy, so I'm not going to try, but it's not the same gap in other sports as it is in wrestling.
Yep.
So, man, there's a lot of people that are not profiting off of this other than people in TKO.
Why do you think the stock price continues to go up in TKO? Because they love that the company's making so much money.
Yeah.
So it's one of those deals. Again, it's the long-standing argument of the unionization in pro wrestling, but you just look at it, and the funny thing in that too is that that's considered the 15% higher than, notably higher than years past. Think about that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's if you're a fan and you love your pro wrestler, as you should, like you support your favorite pro wrestler or whatnot, like that should make you mad.
Yep.
But there is a kind of a complacency with what fans of WWE like. I'm sorry to say, but there is. It's like a lot of it is, as long as I get to watch on my TV or I can get to go to the shows or whatnot, I'm good as a fan.
Yeah.
And if that's the standard, then that's the standard, right?
But I can tell you, and all the people that are pro WWE that don't like AEW, MLW, whatever else it is.
Yep.
If AEW decided that they were going to all of a sudden bring in a bunch of celebrities and guys like, MJF and Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher, and you can go down the list of some of their top guys. They're like, those guys just aren't as important. And we're going to, my God, we can bring in, Hollywood guy or the AEW fans, I'm telling you, would not accept that. And they would go away. And AEW would not have a successful business where they would be running out bragging how much money they make.
Yeah.
And look at our stock prices, and here are the financial reports of what Tony Khan is making, and everyone would just be fine. Oh, I love AEW. That would not happen.
No.
It wouldn't happen with any other professional wrestling organization.
Yeah.
None of it.
And I think it's benefited for WWE because you have people that are longtime fans because they have the history behind them, right? So they get locked in of like, oh, well, I got raised on Hogan. I got raised on Bret Hart. I got raised on Steve Austin and The Rock, right? So I think that's what CKO is betting on, is that you will stay, you will be compliant. You might not like it. I'm sure there are people yelling at their phones or whatever, or the radios listening in, and say, well, I didn't like the, Jelly Roll coming in. I didn't like Pat McAfee coming in. But what we're saying is that in the case of AEW, people would leave.
Right.
Like the fans would be like, this is not the promotion for me. I'm not as hooked on this promotion as other promotions. I'm going to find and seek out pro wrestling. It has been shown a lot of the WWE fans will stick to it no matter what, through the good times, the bad times.
You love New Japan. And they've gone through some down times because when it got to be something that the fans didn't like, they kind of went away.
Yep.
And they had to rebuild.
Yep. And they went through some bad booking spells and all that. I'm like, I'm out. Like, right. It wasn't good.
And so they should. If you're a company, no matter who you are. Like, I like AEW more than I like WWE, but I still love professional wrestling. But if AEW started bringing in a whole bunch of celebrities, and on the undercard, the Ospreys and the MJFs and the Swerve Stricklands and all those guys would be on the undercard because all the the celebrities and the guys and girls that can't wrestle were on top, I'm out. And I'm not paying money to go to events, and I'm not seeking it out on television. And they're going to lose me as a fan. The WWE does not care if they lose you as a fan. That's the difference.
Yep.
All right, some of the cuts. Let's go over them first. I got a couple of emails and texts about this as well that I want to get to. But the Wyatt Six, I believe every member gone.
Yes, every member of the Wyatt Six is gone.
So Nikki Cross, Joe Gacy, Bo Dallas, Dexter Loomis, Eric Rowan. Am I missing someone there? In the Wyatt Six?
Dexter Loomis, Eric Rowan.
Yeah, just said them.
So you pretty much got everybody. Nikki Cross. Yeah, I think you got everybody.
A couple of the bigger names, Aleister Black, Zelina Vega. As a couple, both gone. I'm sure we'll talk about Aleister Black in a second. Motor City Machine Guns. For me, a big name was Kari Sane.
Yep.
Apollo Crews, Santos Escobar. It kind of goes down from there. Although Zoe Stark is another name because of her situation that we'll talk about. Alba Fire, Andre Chase from Chase U and NXT. And I think those are some of the bigger names.
Yeah.
If I've missed.
There were a couple of NXT ones. Like I know there was some discussion about Tyra May Steele because she's going to be on LFG the upcoming season. She's already cut.
Right.
So it's like why even bother watching that season of WWE LFG if if she's already cut. But otherwise, yeah, those are pretty much the big names. You mentioned Santos Escobar, if I recall. So yeah, that's pretty much everything.
Okay, so who do you want to start with here? Do you want to start with Aleister Black? And
let's do the Aleister Black stuff because I certainly have some thoughts about this, and I'll tie in Zelina Vega with this as well.
Okay, so Aleister Black, we know, has kind of skipped back and forth between companies. Zelina Vega has really been with the WWE even when her husband was wrestling for another promotion. Interesting that as of late, like going into the main event scene with all the things that were happening in the back with the backstage segments, with the main event with Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, way in the back of most of those segments, Aleister Black was seen in those shots, and they were clearly at least thinking about involving him with Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. Never got to the promise. Maybe thought the grass was greener on the other side. Was he a problem in AEW beforehand? He goes to WWE thinking it's going to be a whole bunch better. Clearly it's not, because he never really did anything, and now he's cut. So what do you think of Aleister Black being cut by the WWE along with his wife, Zelina Vega?
Boy, is karma something, Lee, when it comes to a guy like Aleister Black, a guy who, when he was in AEW, just the way that he wanted to do stuff, and Tony Khan was saying, no, you got to do it this way. And then he gets petty about it, says, well, you know what? I'm going to be very selective with who I put over. And, all these back issues, can't lay his back down for more than 3, Lee. Right. I've been a tough time doing that in AEW. He was part of that group of what I call the malcontent. And one of my nicknames at the time for Aleister Black, when he was Malachi Black, was he was actually Malcontent Black, because that's all he was doing. It just seemed like he was causing up a ruckus. There was the awkward, remember when he went up the stage and bowed to everybody, indicating he was leaving, and everybody was kind of like, what the heck's he doing? Because he wasn't officially released from his contract, because he was trying to seek attention at that point, because he's a dork. And so, but all of this was a play so that he could finally get back to WWE. His guy in Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Triple H, is finally the booker. And he's like, I'm finally going to reach what I believe I can reach on the main roster in a big company in WWE, because the guy that booked me in NXT is now the main guy that books WWE. And like what you mentioned, not even a year, Lee, he was a day short of his 1-year anniversary of joining WWE before he was released by this company. And now you have the AEW wrestlers that have gone out and said, the funniest one to me was, there was a post, I think it was on Threads, where somebody was like, oh, maybe you could reform, the House of Black and get all these people in with Aleister Black. And Captain Sean Dean, who helps organize wrestlers in the back and brings in talent for some of the shows, replies simply, no. Just no. It was great. And then some of the other I saw Chris Jericho retweeted a post about wrestlers not being happy in AEW that weren't happy with Aleister Black. And I think MJF shared a Max Caster tweet saying, we don't want him in our locker room.
Yeah. Which
was, I think, funny enough in reference to when he was talking about Shelton Benjamin, which is kind of awkward because he's in the locker room, but let's just ignore that for the sake of this argument. So all of this pouting and whining and bitching and moaning from Aleister Black in AEW.
Yep.
He goes to WWE not even a year in, and now He probably can't go to WWE. And if Tony Khan has any sort of self-respect for himself and his business, he would not bring this guy in, at least not for a year. You know, like if after the 90 days, Tony Khan brings him in and he returns, I will lose quite a bit of respect for Tony Khan. Even if, you know, Malachi Black, you know, kind of comes back and he goes on the Andrade run, right? Like Andrade, when he came back, I was like, I'm not sure he was part of that group. He's somebody that just kind of complains about his spot a lot. And he's had a good run. If Malachi Black comes back after this 90 days, I will lose a lot of respect for Tony Khan.
Okay. So our good friend, the AEW superstar, Ben Soublier.
Yeah.
This question for the pod. Andrade versus Malachi Black. Does Andrade's current run give you pause to consider bringing back Malachi? Andrade left on good terms, competing in the Continental Classic, then putting over Miro on the way out. But Malachi allegedly asked for his release previously. He was waiting to jump around for his release to WWE. By the sounds of it, both wanted to make the jump due to personal reasons. Quote, or in brackets, wives working for WWE.
Yep.
Is the juice worth the squeeze for Malachi? And do you believe in second chances? As much as I like Malachi as a performer, I feel like Brody King has already done more in AEW in the last year than Malachi has accomplished in his entire AEW run. And so I went back and forth with Ben a little bit. I hope that he would be okay in sharing some of the personal messages. All I would say is like the way at least he's framing it, and it's more of a question. I'm not even sure that he thinks like this is an absolute. It's more of a question.
No, I read that as a question.
Yeah, but there's more, and I think like he kind of put it to for people who have seen Ted Lasso, the example of Jamie Tart, who was the best player, but he was an ass.
Yep.
And then he went to Manchester City and he didn't catch on there and he started doing all kinds of things. And then he was brought back to Richmond and it turned him into a different person because he was not treated the same and he had to earn everything that he got. Would you consider bringing him back? Because I think this is a very fair question. Would you consider bringing him back for a year on a 1-year deal and saying, we are going to use you, like we're in charge and we are going to use you any way we see fit, and let him, if he wanted to bitch and moan and complain, would you try it out thinking that maybe Alistair / Malachi Black would realize that this is his last chance? And if it can't work now, it's never going to work. But you might get somebody who has hit the bottom of the barrel and realizes that he needs to change the way that he approaches things.
No, I wouldn't bring him back. I respect the way that you laid that out. I very much appreciate it, and I do think there is an argument to that, but no. I mean, he had his opportunities. Like he's had his opportunities. He needs to prove it to Tony. Tony doesn't need like, I need you to prove to me. He needs to prove to Tony that he's committed.
But how is he going to do that if he doesn't work for him?
There's other companies that he could work for. There's TNA. Go be a big star in TNA. Go be a star in MLW. Go work indies and be the top indie guy. Keep your head down. Stay out of business. Yep. Don't complain. Go out there and show that you're committed.
Right.
So Tony has no obligation to do a reclamation project for Alistair Black. And I get what Ben's saying, and I understand the Andrade comparison, but this was a take. This is not my take. I heard it and I agree with it. So I want to give credit where it's due. I heard it somewhere else. But at least with Andrade consistently everywhere he went, he was upset. Everywhere he went. He was at least consistent, right? Like as soon as his push started to go down, he was consistent. With Alistair, it was just Tony. He was fine in WWE. We never heard anything about him being upset about Triple H or anything like that, or in NXT or in other indies, but it was only Tony he had issues with. So if I'm Tony Khan, it's like, I don't need to prove anything to you. I've got my roster of guys. I'm not reforming the House of Black and building around you. You go out and prove to me that you belong back in the company and you deserve to be back in the good graces. Because to me, if you just go out there and say, I'm putting you in the locker room doing this, I think you've already achieved the idea because you're still having him work in a big company. So I don't, if you're going to bring him back, you wait a year, in my mind. Okay. You let him work elsewhere. You let him do it on his own. Let him show the commitment. You don't, that's in my opinion, because he disrespected you. That's why I would lose respect for Tony Khan.
Right.
Because he disrespected you. And he practically spat in your face, said, I'm not doing jobs. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. I'm going to limit myself to this and blah, blah, blah. Like, he always had some sort of a complaint. I've heard it myself about some of the complaints. So I'm saying that this guy needs to show that he's committed. And that doesn't mean Tony Khan going out there and giving the contract. That has to be earned and that has to be shown. And the guy's 37, Aleister Black. There's still time. Like, it's pro wrestling now. You could go to like 45, 50. He could still have 10 more years of his career if he wanted to. But he's got to show it in my mind. So and it's the same for Miro. And I said it with Andrade at the time. I wouldn't have brought him in. I've said it on the record, and I know Ben's like dancing around now because he's doing really well because he's being a nice boy right now. Well, again, we'll wait when the push is done. He's being a nice, good little soldier because he has to be, because he has nowhere else to go, because he's burned every bridge possible. And Tony's too nice when he's a businessman. He's too nice. I still believe that.
Yeah. Andrade's been, look, to his credit, and I know he's getting a push, but he's been really good.
Yep.
So,
and I've been enjoying Andrade on TV, just for the record.
He's been good. So all he can do right now is continue to be good. And he's doing his part right now, Andrade in AEW. That's fair because he's continued to put on really good matches with top stars. So the way I would look at that question about Aleister Black would be, if I'm Tony Khan, and I think I know what the answer is, but I don't know for sure. I would go to my locker room. And how many people are stepping up and vouching for this guy to get another opportunity? And I would go to most of the locker room and say, is this going to be a problem? And if it is, then I'm never bringing him back, like right now. And maybe he goes out and earns it and all that stuff. But the question that Ben asked there, is the juice worth the squeeze? Right now, the answer is no. And so
if he was CM Punk levels, I would consider it.
Right. But there's no proof that he is going to even get to where Andrade is right now. Yep. Right. Like, how do you know he's ever even going to get there? So if I went to them and said, what do you think? And, 90% of the people are like, yeah, you know what? Good dude. Give him another chance. I would consider it for sure. But I don't know that the locker room is going to do that. So if they don't, I do agree with you. And you were going to tie Zelina Vega into it. And I'll just say this. Zelina Vega, look, when people get released, it's an emotional time.
Absolutely.
Like, I've been there. Most people have at some point in their careers. It's an emotional time. But Zelina Vega's got a little bit of that, like, pushback, always kind of unhappy stuff going on too. And then she goes on her Twitch or whatever she does.
Yep.
And says that, like, yeah, it sucks, but what I really would have liked is the opportunity to go out and do it on my own, and specifically brought up Sean Ross Sapp and, a bunch of expletives towards him Hey, Zelina, first of all, you're not that big of a star. You're not. Like, I don't know what you think you are, but you're not that big of a star.
Hmm?
Number two, Sean Ross Sapp is a reporter. That's what he does for a living. And I take you to the NHL trade deadline day, where some of the people, regardless of what percentage, are playing with the team and hear it first through social media or on TV that they've been traded and their whole life has been uprooted. Before they get the call from the GM, before they get the call from somebody else. You work and live in a business that has been like this the entire time. And Sean Ross Sapp's, like, his duty as a reporter is, if he finds out the information, is to report the information, because if Sean Ross Sapp didn't do it, somebody else would have 5, 10, 15 minutes later. And Zelina would have been, she would have been like happier with Sean Ross Sapp and not calling him a bunch of names online because he reported what was actually fact. Like, I'm sorry you don't like it. I'm sorry your boss didn't call you and then you didn't immediately go on Twitch to make sure that you were the first one to get it out there. But that's your problem. And that's another reason why I would be like, it's an emotional time, but come on. Like, that's his job.
Yep.
And to blame him for it and to be calling him names online. Yeah, if you want another job and you want your husband to have another job, not the way to go about that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you pretty much said what I wanted to say. When I saw that and I saw Zelina Vega saying it, I had 2 words: grow up. He's a reporter. This is the real world. This is the job that you have entered into.
Yep.
And, you know, many times, like, I understand, you know, you get cut. It's a tough time, especially when your husband's also getting cut too. And it's like, all right, we're going to have to navigate this part, but come on, like, what are we doing here? I don't know what's been going on when it comes to like wrestling media stuff recently, like Zelina Vega with the reporter stuff. And also, apparently, you can't compare other wrestlers now. I don't know if you've been seeing that, like with Conrad Thompson, who's also somebody I don't like. But he was mad at Dave for comparing Brody Lee Jr. to NXT wrestlers. Like, it's putting over Brody Lee Jr. Like, I don't understand what is going on here. Why we've become so bunch of wusses. Like, I don't know what's been going on here. But in the case of Zelina Vega, yeah, I mean, he was doing his job. I don't know what else you wanted him to do. Like, right. He heard the information, like, oh, we got this information, and I'm reporting the cut. And, you know, and Sean has always made it clear, like, he's always made sure that, like, wrestlers were informed. Like, if anything, like, he could go out there and report it if he had heard it before the wrestler, but he's always been fair about it and said, waiting for the wrestler to know, and then has reported the information. So it's not like she was caught off guard by it. So I don't know what the complaint is from her. I really don't. No. It's like, it's just, I understand it's a tough time and probably mad about what's going on, but get mad at the company. Like, somehow TKO, like, for some of the wrestlers, remember when Vince was in charge and there were cuts and it's like, Vince loved me, but John Laurinaitis, like, he just I don't understand how these wrestlers don't get it. It's the same with these cuts too, where it's like, you know, Triple H had something for me. Like, I saw some people saying Triple H, like, he had no choice in the matter. You think Ari Emanuel knows who Zelina Vega is, period? Or Mark Shapiro? like they're going to Triple H and saying, look, we need you to cut this amount of right. salary or whatnot. Find the wrestlers to cut. Do it. And Triple H is like, all right, well, I'm looking through. Here's my roster. It's like, well, I don't really have plans for this. I probably don't have plans for this. And making these cuts and making the decisions. So
So
So weird now. So
I know.
weird.
So when it comes to the Wyatt Six, I kind of feel like they're exactly under that what you just said.
Yep.
Like it's a group of people, don't really have plans for them. I don't know really how we break them apart. And I really don't know if anybody's going to come out and be like a next level star. I don't want to say like it sucks. Don't get me wrong. And people, the memory of Bray Wyatt and cutting Bo Dallas and bringing back the Wyatt Six. But first of all, I don't think any of those wrestlers are great wrestlers. And if they make it somewhere else, that's awesome. I hope they do. I really do.
Mhm.
But were they going to make it in WWE? Like, where was this gimmick going? I understand this cut. Even
Me
though
too.
I don't look at it and go, boy, they've really missed the boat on one of these guys or girls.
Yeah. If it was mid to late 2010s, I'd probably be a little bit more surprised about Nikki Cross.
Yep.
But it's been a long time now since I think a lot of these wrestlers sometimes we get caught up with, they're very good. It's like, yeah, they were very good in 2016 to 2020.
Yeah.
It's 2026 now. Like,
Exactly.
now, could there be a case in one of these releases where they're finally free from the system or whatever, and they finally have their wings spread and they're motivated? It's like, I'm going to prove them wrong. I'm sure maybe there is, but again, if this was like 2017, 2018, I'd be looking at a Nikki Cross. Now it's like, maybe I would kick the can and if I'm AEW, maybe like put her in a Ring of Honor and see how she does. But otherwise, a lot of these other guys, like your Eric Rowans, your Joe Gacy's, your Dexter Loomis's,
Yeah.
your Bo Dallas's, they just scream TNA to me.
Yeah.
Just absolutely screaming TNA to me.
100%.
So,
Motor City Machine Guns. Understand that they went there to try and get like a final run. Never went to the WWE before. Considered, both of those guys, I think individually and as a tag team, have been really, really good. Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin certainly didn't get, I think, the chance to do something relevant in the WWE, but you do have to ask the question, like, were they there kind of as a final run? Do they want more? Can they be better than what we saw in the WWE? Are they going to go to AEW? They're a more interesting scenario for me about what to do with them. I have to tell you that I think I would need to be convinced. I probably could be, because I really like those guys. But are they past where, like what you were just saying about what people were 5 or 10 years ago? Is that where the Motor City Machine Guns are now? That to me is the biggest discussion of where they are in 2026 and what can they possibly do. My first instinct, and I want to be proven wrong with this, my first instinct is they also scream TNA to me.
okay. Interesting. I thought you were going to say AEW.
No,
because if I'm AEW, I would take a look. I will say this though, having guys like Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, and you have such a big training facility, and one of the big compliments to having a guy like Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin is those guys are very good with young wrestlers.
Yeah,
and you don't keep those guys around in NXT at least to, train up your next guys. You don't think the wrestlers down there would get some super valuable experience from learning from Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin? Like, I think it's very one-dimensional thinking of, they're just guys on your tag team roster with them. Especially with Alex Shelley, I think that's a guy you could have as your trainer in your performance center, and you could really get some good wrestlers out of it. But
so my question then becomes, from where you're saying that they are right now, and I agree with you, I think they'd be unbelievable at that.
Mm-hmm.
But are they what people want to see in 2026, and can they get back to the top of the AEW tag team spot? And are they going to be in like really good matches with the Bucks and FTR and maybe Brodito if they get back together, and maybe some of the Don Callis family? Like, are they going to be positioned in a way, and can they continue to do it and be relevant in 2026 as one of those top teams? It's a question. The answer is not no. It's just I don't know right now.
Yep. And with that, I would still kind of take a look, because that probability of them being at the upper echelon is too tantalizing for me, where I want to see if that's the case. Because at worst, you still have solid TV tag team wrestlers that you can rely on each week in the Motor City Machine Guns, like a name team, especially if you want to put over young teams, or, you know what I mean? Like some of your younger guys there, like that's an established team that you could go on there that people recognize and know with credibility, and you can put them on TV, and I don't think people would complain. So I would take a look at them as AEW. I've said in the past, I think people are higher on Motor City Machine Guns than I am. I really like the Guns. I understand their influence too, but I don't know if I was ever as high on them. And maybe it's just because when I came in, the Guns were like, Saban had just gone through his singles run,
right,
and he had the feud with Bully Ray. So that was kind of my impression from Saban and Shelley. So I didn't see the peak 2008 to 2010, 11-ish run for the Motor City Machine Guns. But I would still want to take a look if I'm AEW. At the very least, somebody that I would train with my young guys. Like if I said this the other day, if I was an indie promoter and I had all these, I would be booking the Motor City Machine Guns and booking them against my young guys tomorrow. Like that's
100%.
Like I think they'd be the perfect team for that.
I think the big issue for them, for me, is that while they were great in-ring performers, they were never great on the mic.
No.
And now that they're older and they've slowed down a little bit, can they still perform at a high level and not be great on the mic? And do you need to put them in a spot where they need a manager? Which, by the way, on another show, on another time, I'll have to try to understand why Big Stoke is not being called Big Stoke anymore. Just Stoke.
He will always be Big Stoke to me.
Yeah, but what happened?
I don't know.
Stoke. It's just Stoke now.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
So a couple others I want to get to. Kari Sane. I think she is a perfect AEW wrestler.
Absolutely.
She's got a good look. She can really go. She doesn't have, great mic skills, obviously, but they've shown in a number of instances that they've been able to book people like that in the women's division successfully. And whether like Rio has been a multiple time champion. I'm just trying to think, like, even Chris Statlander, not great on the mic, and they've kind of made her somewhat relevant.
Hikaru Shida,
exactly. So I would be bringing in Kari Sane in a second. That, to me, that's number one on my list.
Yep.
Because I think she can go right into the women's division and have really good matches at the top of the card and be relevant wherever she's going.
I agree 100%. I think would be a perfect fit. And plus, with the relationship with New Japan, if she wanted to work Stardom dates, she could probably be able to do that too. So I would be absolutely, if Kairi Sane wants to work in America again and stay in America, or at least, work a split schedule and work Stardom and work in AEW, I think that would be a perfect sign, and just continues to help bolster that women's division and the depth that it has. So yeah, that's a very easy number one for me too.
Okay. And the only other one I wanted to bring up, because I do think it's an interesting situation, and then I heard the guys on the 24/7 pro wrestling channel, not Sam Roberts, by the way.
I was going to say not Sam Roberts.
No, I don't listen to him.
Yes.
I like that his handle is not Sam Wrestling, because I'm also under the I'm not Sam
That's right.
guy. Like I'm a not Sam guy. So that's good. Zoe Stark. Zoe Stark, I think, was to me a little bit underwhelming. Still not great on the mic, but has a really decent look for and has improved some of her in-ring skills. But more, I ask you the question that they were asking because I think it's a really interesting one. So Zoe Stark breaks her leg and I believe tears some ligaments and is gone for just under a year. She rehabs. She works very, very, very hard to get back. She just gets cleared after a year of rehabbing and on the precipice of coming back to the WWE after rehabbing for a year, gets let go right before she's going to come back. The question that they were asking, which I thought was interesting, would be like, and to me, this is a, like Ben sort of asked, the juice worth the squeeze. You're going to have a former WWE wrestler that's going to be super bitter about the personal situation that they were in. Like getting hurt under the company, rehabbing like hell to get back after, an excruciating year off to try to get back. And as soon as you're able to get back, they fire you. Would you bring that person on AEW television and let them go and let them have a mic and tell their story? And would that be worth, after she tells her story, would that be worth continuing on with her in AEW?
It's interesting you bring her up because I wanted to bring her up as a possibility, as a dark horse. Because I think I don't think people realize she has an independent wrestling background to her. She's not somebody that comes from the Performance Center, like trained through the Performance Center or anything like that.
Right.
And the story that you mentioned there of like she had been rehabbing and getting herself back into a shape to be able to get back in the ring, and then they cut her just as it seemed like she was cleared and ready to go. I would take a look. I'd be interested. I don't know about, giving her a microphone and letting her say her story, sort of deal. I get what you mean by that, but I think
well,
mainly because
I ask it because they were also saying, which I guess I took from their discussion and said, I don't know that Zoe Stark on her own without that story is going to hit the mark with people who watch AEW. But if you let her go out and tell the story and have it, if it's told properly, that they were screwed over by the WWE, couldn't have been put in a worse spot, but you're going to make it here in AEW because this is where you've always wanted to be anyway, and let people almost feel bad for you or get some sort of attachment like, hey, this girl was really screwed over in the big corporate world of the WWE. And that attaches people to her. Because to be honest, if Zoe Stark went back to AEW right now and they just came up with a new gimmick and a new direction for her to go, I don't know that I'm attached to her.
Yeah.
But if you get that, I really feel bad for you from the fans' perspective that you were screwed over super badly, I now have a reason to cheer for you. That underdog getting back up story.
Yep.
I don't know that I would. It's an interesting decision on whether you want to go that way.
Yeah. I was looking at it of I would bring her in because I think that would be a huge motivator for her. And I think I like Zoe Stark's appearances on WWE programming. I thought she had like a solid base to work off of, right? But like what you said, her biggest hindrances, and in WWE, you need to have some sort of a character or personality,
Yeah.
and she just didn't really have that. And you bring her in AEW, and not to say that, you don't need to have a character or personality in AEW, because that helps a lot. You look at some of the top guys, you say they don't have any character or personality, I think you're out of your flipping mind. But I think with Zoe Stark, I think she's one of those. I would look at bringing her in as some sort of like a steady, like a solid professional wrestler, and see what she's able to do, motivated from that with that broken leg, and see if she wants to prove people wrong and kind of harness it, right? And if you want to turn it into a gimmick and make that a part of a babyface run, I think there's something there to that. But I think she might be more of an underrated fit for AEW than people might expect.
Okay.
So I also want to throw her in as a dark horse. But I don't mind that idea.
Anything else you want to say on the cuts?
I'll just quickly give some thoughts. I mean, Alba Fire, I think I liked her, but she hasn't really, like, what's the big Alba Fire moment for you over the last couple of years, other than being her security or whatever for Chelsea Green? Like,
I don't have one. Yeah.
So maybe it's one of those cases where she gets back on the indies and kind of gets motivated again. But it kind of goes back to what I was feeling about Nikki Cross. Like, if this was 2020 to 2022 or 2019 to 2022, I'd be more interested, but it's 2026 now. And it's like, I don't know what's there. And Apollo Crews, I mean, it's tough because it's like, it's hard to believe, but at one point he was a highly touted prospect.
I know. Yeah.
Like 2016 when he was Uha Nation, I remember people being like, oh, like, look at like the look and his ability. It's like, if he's able to like develop a character and a gimmick, like maybe there's something there. I remember him in NXT, and then they rushed him to the main roster and they kept throwing gimmicks at him. And I'm like, man, they're just rushing this guy. And he is not picking up the character aspect. And I find it very frustrating. So I might come across as a hypocrite here, because I've just gone on saying, this is 2017, I would look at this, or 2019, but there is still a little part of me that's like, do you want to take a look at Apollo Crews maybe? Or do you just want to let him figure it out in the indies and then see if he gets back to his Uha Nation form? And
I think I need to let him personally figure it out on the indies, because I don't need another company giving him another gimmick change,
right,
to see if he can fit into that mold. Like, I need to find out, like, say what you want. And I do compare a little bit, and I'll bring his name back up. That my man, Killer Cross, and Scarlett. So they did the opposite of kind of what they were replaced, I thought, by Malachi Black or Aleister Black and Zelina, right? It was almost like the same gimmick, but we're going to go with these guys, and I've worked with them before, blah, 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 blah. But they never went and bitched and complained. They have gone out and kind of made their own path on the indies. And the one thing I would say about him, whether you like him or not, is that and he specifically has kind of built up his own gimmick where you know what that is.
Right.
With Apollo Crews, I have no idea. And I don't want to try and fit him into another box. And like, maybe he's going to be a bad guy and he'll be a part of a team, and maybe you put him with the Hurt Business and he just smiles too much. And you're like, stop, man. Can we turn you into a bad guy? Cause you're smiling all the time and you got this. Can we turn you into a good guy? And the crowd almost doesn't believe you because you smile too much.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what you are. So go figure it out and go. It's not like I would never look at that guy again. It's just, I have no idea who you are.
Yeah.
Where Killer Cross, and I bring the example up, whether you like that gimmick or not and what he's doing on the indies, you do know who he is.
Oh, I know who Killer Cross is.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
And again, there's opinions after that. But the whole point for Apollo Crews and some of these other people like Zoe Stark and other people that go and get cut, it's like, I don't know who you are. I don't really know what that is and whether I can even have an opinion on whether I like it or not. Like, I happen to like the Killer Cross and Scarlet gimmick. You might not be as, encouraged as I am, but like,
Yeah.
we, at least it's there for you to have an opinion, whether you like it or not, or me to have an opinion whether I like it or not. I think for some of these other folks, it's about going out there and developing something that you can either get behind or decide that you don't like, but it's going to be of your own volition. You're going to be able to do that if you're Apollo Crews or Zoe Stark or anybody else on the indies, that you don't really feel like you have this massive emotional attachment to a gimmick, or at least figure out who they are.
Yeah. It's hard to believe that Apollo Crews, like, I remember him being a highly touted prospect, and I was like, that was 2018, right? Nope, that was 2014.
Oh my
He's
God.
been there for 12 years. I'm just like, oh my God, like this, he's been there forever. So we'll see with him. And then quickly on Santos Escobar, I mean, tough break. He really recently just signed a new contract, like earlier this year or something like that. And I think he got hurt or something, and then eventually he just got cut. And
but he was older, right?
He's 40, I think. I think he's either 40 or 41, might be even older than that. But yeah, he's on the older side. So it was funny. There was a time like where we were talking about the big Santos Escobar signing race that all of a sudden picked up. Then he re-signs with WWE. He gets sent to AAA, or as Ric Flair said in his post recently, the Undertaker's promotion. Yeah. And just starts working there. And
so he'll be 42 in like 2 days.
Yeah. So yeah, I think he's talented. I don't know if I'm AEW and I look at bringing him in though. Like, I think again, same thing I said with Andrade. I'm like, I think you've got some really exciting upcoming luchadors, and I think you have them working with some of the guys you have now. I think you'll be okay. So I don't really see a Santos Escobar.
Yeah. I know there's a ton else to get to, but we're going to have to do that another time. There's nothing, Zach, like having a 82-minute show and talking a little Belleville, little cuts, and then there's so much else in the world of professional wrestling to get to, but we'll have to do that on another day. Maybe another live edition coming up. Who knows? I
was going to say, do you want to go live in the next one? I've been loving the live shows. I really have. I love interacting with the chat.
Same.
and whatnot, and people getting to see me lose my mind in real time is very entertaining for them. So
yeah, it kind of gets my adrenaline going.
Yeah,
to be able to fire you up. What can I do to get Zach a little bit, agitated?
Yeah,
on a live show.
Yeah, Paul Levesque's a great booker. Oh, let's talk about it then. Oh, I'm fired up. Oh, he's signed a new deal. Oh, let's talk about it. Oh, yeah. So, but I really enjoy doing those live shows, and I mean, it's weird to say, unfortunately, with the Sens being eliminated, it's the cause of that. But I mean, there's more time now to kind of do a live show if we wanted to. Well, just go live on the OSN channel.
And who knows if depending if Montreal can come back, but if they end up losing too, and as we sit here right now, Edmonton is going to fight for their lives down 3-1. Like, Canadian teams are taking a little bit of a beating here, and it could be all over for the Canadian teams in another 4 or 5 days.
Wow.
And then you'd be like, oh, okay, what are we doing? Well, yeah, we'll have more live This Is Wrestling.
Yes. That's to kind of fill in those gaps there, So
and some live OSN stuff and some more watch parties. And
Red Blacks are coming back pretty soon for training camp anyway. I know my dad's been excited about that. So
So there's a lot going on kind of in the OSN world, but This Is Wrestling will attach to it as well. So we'll be doing some more.
I think I already asked you on the previous episode, but I'll ask here about the Hogan documentary. I got asked about that a couple of times by some people. I don't know
so
how you're feeling about it.
So I sat down last night and was finally like, okay, I'm just going to watch some TV.
Yeah.
and just gonna relax, and I'm gonna watch some of the hockey games. And I ended up watching maybe a bit of a nerd, but I like uh Sullivan's Crossing.
There you go.
It's out in Nova Scotia, and they like, oh, it's kind of good. So I watched a couple episodes of that, and all of a sudden it dawned on me, oh, the Hogan documentary.
Yeah.
Man, I gotta talk. Like, yeah, I gotta sit down and watch the Hogan documentary, because every time I hear about it, and look, I'm going to go in, I promise, because that's our job. I'm going to go in with an open mind. It's a documentary. I'm going to try and go in with as open a mind as I possibly can. And I mean that. But every single thing that I've heard about this documentary is, yeah, Hogan's just lying there. Like, everything that comes up, it's like, yeah, that's what there's that. That's just not true.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
so I'm like, oh boy, like, are we going to have to fact check? That's, I guess, the fear of, for me, sitting down and watching this documentary is that I'm going to have to pause it like every 5 minutes and fact check what they've said and what's gone on. I'm like, yeah, that's not true.
I know.
Okay.
It's so I will say this. I've went ahead and because I'm a very like, everybody's been asking me about it, so I'm just gonna watch it, so at least I have.
You've watched it already?
I've watched all the episodes of it. Yes.
How many episodes are there?
There's 4. So it's a 4-part miniseries or whatever. So
okay, well, I will tell you right here, right now. I was going to say live, but on the recording, I will watch at least episode 1.
Yeah,
and maybe even later this week we'll get to episode 1, and we'll do it like the other series. Is it worth? I guess my question would be, I'm guessing they're like an hour long each.
It gets a little longer each episode. I think the first one's like 45 minutes, and then the second one's like 55 minutes.
And to do a little bit of a review on each show as opposed to the entire thing. That's my question to you. As we, folks, this is what we call prep, but just on the air.
Yeah, that's right. This is the on-air prep meeting. Yes and no. Like, there's one episode that I think is interesting on its own, without spoiling what it is.
Okay.
And then there's other episodes where it's like, you can do it episode by episode,
but you'd be stretching.
How do I say this without spoiling it?
Well, don't.
You're not necessarily stretching, but it's more just like, I think we do a good job of being able to talk about it. It's just, that's what I will say.
Okay, so let me workshop this with you then.
Sure.
And folks, this is like the real life dialogue. This is what Zach and I would be doing anyways.
Correct.
If it wasn't on the air. Do you want to split it up into 2 episodes and have like 2 episodes covered on each show?
I think I would like that better.
Okay.
Personally.
Is that the best thing? If you had your preference, how would you do it? Would you do it every episode? Would you split it down the middle? Or would you do just one episode covering the entire thing?
I would say 1 episode covering the entire thing, because mainly there's 1 episode that I think would be the majority discussion.
Okay.
But if there is a way to look at it where you could have the first 2 episodes tie in for 1 review and the other 2 episodes tie in for another review.
Well, I'll tell you what.
And it'll change the theme. So
I will watch the first 2 episodes really shortly, like very soon. And then I will get back to you on, yes, I think like I'm ready to do a full show on this now.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, okay, there's some stuff here, but we could probably get it all in one if I just watch the other 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm doing my best to try to avoid the spoilers.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
So I don't mind going back and watching it again to try and pick up on stuff, because to make sure that I'm still fresh on it. But yes, I did go ahead and watch it because I was just like, I might as well while I'm here.
Yeah. Okay. So. Well, I will get that done. And you know what? Even as I sit here, tonight might be a decent night because it's not a wrestling night and there's no Montreal Tampa game.
Right.
I believe tonight. So
there you go.
And I'm a little bit fresher because I did not stay up for double overtime for Utah and Vegas last night.
Yes. Yes.
But I'm thankful I did not. a little bit fresh. So, okay. Appreciate your thoughts on the cuts and everything that's going on there. And we'll get more into the programming as far as what WWE is doing. Because I did say I like some of the things that the actual wrestlers are doing.
Yep.
And there was a very intriguing part of AEW programming, which I found on Playoff Palooza on Collision. Like, I don't know why they do some of this stuff. Like, you don't need to call it Playoff Palooza.
Gotta have the branded names now, Lee.
Like, yeah, there's a lot of playoffs going on in your network. We get it. But
Yes.
why are you roping in the wrestling into it? Like,
we're gonna call our live shows the Podcast Extravaganza. Every live edition of This Is Wrestling is the Podcast Extravaganza.
How about just Podcast Palooza?
The Podcast Palooza. Yes.
Podcast Palooza Extravaganza PPEs.
TIW Extraordinaire.
I like the way you say that. It's got a little punch to it.
That's right. You gotta add the emphasis.
But for now, we will let you go, and we will be back. We will be promoting live shows. We'll be doing the Hogan documentary and getting you set for Backlash, I guess, in Tampa coming up. And then AEW will go Double or Nothing in the month of May in New York. So
that
for
Tommaso Ciampa Darby Allin match you have to watch. That's my AEW take. That's an unbelievable match.
Yeah, we'll get to that and more because I think it deserves more time than just a quick mention at the end of a program.
Right.
But for Zach McGibbon, I'm Lee Versage. For now, This Is Wrestling.